Greetings on this fourth Sunday of Easter, May 3rd. A few things. May 5th, Tuesday of this week, is Cinco de Mayo, a celebration of Mexican Independence Day. Please take a look at the parish website, the newsletter. Also, there's several different things there for your own contemplation and benefit, prayer groups that you can become part of, things to read, things that are happening at Church of the Holy Spirit and in the area. A couple of other things. Please continue your commitment to sustain your beloved Church of the Holy Spirit by making your financial contribution. It is the thing that helps us to sustain and make the parish viable in today's world, and we totally depend on it. You know that, so please continue that, and thank you for that. And the other thing is that if you have not filled out the census form yet, please do that. We all know how important that is for ourselves in this state and in the country itself. I am especially grateful for this particular Sunday. Scriptures are filled with powerful, beautiful, challenging stories, but the story of the Good Shepherd is one that touches my life in a deep way. You no doubt have at least one, perhaps several different images of the Good Shepherd and how this story itself and the idea of Jesus being the Good Shepherd has touched your life. One of my favorites is the image that I suspect you have seen. It is a portrait, a picture of Jesus and the sheep around his neck with the splint on its leg. The story goes that this sheep was a young, spirited male sheep who wanted to take off on its own and find its own way around, and just split from the rest of the sheep and from the shepherd, and finally fell off the edge of a cliff and broke its leg. Jesus, leaving the other sheep, the 99, went to find this spirited young rebel who was taking off. I'm pretty sure the name of the sheep was John Richard. Yeah, I'm almost positive of that. But Jesus took the sheep and wrapped the splint around its leg and put the sheep around his neck. The powerful imagery of this is that then the sheep itself would come to know how much he depended on Jesus, not only for his healing. He couldn't walk until his leg was better because of the splint, and he needed to be carried to keep up with the other sheep. But also experiencing the unconditional love of Jesus, and that this relationship would never change from that day on. The sheep would know from then on how close it was to Jesus and would always remember this period of time in its life. I suspect that we all have some version of that, our own dependence on the Lord, our own being healed, our own becoming aware of God's unconditional love for all of us, and then how we ourselves have the opportunity to be that way, to share that with other people, and to receive that same gift from one another. It's one of the things during this very difficult time. We sometimes wonder who we're depending on or what we're depending on. Yesterday would have been First Communion, the beginning of First Communion for ourselves at Church of the Holy Spirit. We are all not able to do that right now. That's somewhere in the future, further down the road. How do we get along in these days of being quarantined at home, self-isolating? Father Tom Hurley at Old St. Pat's gave what I believe was a really fine homily. I'd encourage you to watch that from today's Mass, the 10 o'clock Mass at Old St. Pat's today. But in the homily itself, he speaks about how We might think we would be going crazy, being locked up at home, and in some ways that is certainly a challenge for us. But he related the story of a mother who said, I love being with my kids. I haven't been around them much at all. And others would say pretty much the same thing, and also say that the kids are glad to be with their parents, whom they don't really see very much. Gives us a very, not so much different, but important understanding and experience of the relationships that we have that we may not have paid attention to because we have been very busy and because there are many other things to take our attention. But what does come to us clearly is how much we depend on God, how important our relationship is with the Lord and with one another. Helps us to realize that being with, depending on, receiving from one another reminds us that we are never alone, even if we are staying at home alone. These opportunities help us to connect with each other, with others. Thank goodness for this technology. It reminds us that we're with each other and with our God, and that their lives have everything that they need and that they want, meaning strength, purpose, courage, faith, hope, and love. Praise be to God. Thanks be to God.